Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE Smackdown every Saturday night. My name's John Zindel. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Tom, can you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
It's a big Smackdown on the way to not only a Saturday night's main event, but a Royal Rumble. So without further ado, John, don't bury the lead. What's our top story from SmackDown for January 17th, 2025?
Dom, we don't ever bury the lead. And the lead is the main event with Tiffany Straton versus Baylee. Giving these two plenty of time in a real wrestling match here for the main event. And Tiffany Straton knocks off Baylee after she hits her Alabama Slam and world's prettiest moonsault.
I believe that's it, yes.
Yeah, so she goes Alabama Slam, hits the moonsault, 1, 2, 3. I like this one. And these are two of our favorites here with Baylee and Tiffany Straton. These are Don't Bury the Lead people that we like. So, Tom, what'd you think of this main event?
I think it's great for her first title defense. Tiffany Stratton's first title defense, main event of SmackDown. They gave him almost 20 minutes bell to bell. There were 2 commercial breaks in the match. So they gave them almost premium live event amount of time to work through this here. I thought it was a great match. I really enjoyed this. Like you said, Tiffany Stratton retains her belt. There were also no shenanigans, although they teased it a bit with Baylee talking trash with Roxanne Perez from NXT at ringside. But there was no interference. This was just a clean one-on-one match for a championship. Great stuff. I mean, fast-paced very early, and if you thought that they were going to burn themselves out early, they did not. I mean, things slowed down a bit into more of your match setting as it wore on. You know, a lot of early energy there and maybe anxious energy, nervous energy. But, you know, Tiff doing a lot of gymnastics. But it moved into more of the wrestling, more of the grappling, submission holds, high-impact strikes. Just a good variety of stuff. You mentioned the Alabama Slam and then the moonsault for the win. That was after Tiff blocked a rose plant.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Baylee going for her finishing move that Tiffany fought out of and stood up into an Alabama Slam as Baylee was trying to get her into that face planting into the mat kind of move. So great counter, great everything. What do you say about the match here?
Yeah, really great counters. I'm glad you brought that up because there was a series here when we start from like early in the match till mid of the match and late of the match where Baylee is trying to hit that belly to belly suplex that she's kind of one of her signatures, and Tiffany Stratton blocks it.
Yep.
And then at some point they make it to the outside. She hits it, and then this is like 10 minutes later after she initially tried to hit it. So it's cool that she's setting it up, blocking. It's getting blocked, and then she actually is able to hit it. So they're weaving stuff in the story of the match from like the beginning into the middle, which isn't a big surprise from Baylee because she's so good. But definitely, Tiffany didn't miss a beat at all when she was in there with her. A lot of stuff that Tiffany does that I just love is just how damn stiff she is. Boy.
Okay.
I mean, the Alabama Slam, it just looks brutal. I've gone on and on about this, but she hit Baylee with the power bomb.
Yes.
And oftentimes they kind of, they lay off on the power bomb. They'll kind of hit it and make sure they're safe. Kevin Owens kind of finds a way to land them on him as he hits the power bomb as well. So they're not
the sit out. Yep.
The sit out. Yeah. So so that way he can put his legs out and they don't smash directly on the mat. There's a little bit of that barrier there when they hit the legs. Tiffany said no. She just boom and like puts her full body, her whole force into it. And it's just like, man, that's stiff. But she's a champ for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's stuff like that where you're like, man, it's safe, but I think Baylee probably felt it at the moment, right?
Yep. Sure. And but it wasn't too much that Baylee couldn't get right into the match there. Tiffany had done the top turn swanton into that power bomb. Baylee barely kicks out. Tiff goes right into an arm bar. Yeah. Baylee rolled it into a pin attempt, forcing Tiffany to break the hold. So again, it's Baylee was right on point, and they moved into a counter, into a sequence of wrestling there. Other sequences, did you have any favorites? I've got a few that I noted here.
For me, I really liked the way that they were working the arm throughout the whole match.
Okay.
And she could keep going back to that. Tiffany did that pretty frequently. And, she found all kinds of unique ways, like throwing her up against a barricade with the arm. I don't know what this move is, but when you drop to the ground and you put your leg up against the arm, I don't know what you'd even call that, but
it's a variation on the eat defeat.
Yeah. That might be right. But anyways, I'm pretty happy with this one. I've got some stuff, or I should say, how about you? What do you think about the transitions from your end that you liked?
I also liked the transition. They did a lot of moves on the ring apron. They did a good mix of going to the outside, but not, going all weapons and tables and stuff. I mean, they didn't need that. They did not need the gimmicks.
That's a great point. They're on the outside, but it wasn't like, oh, they pull out the table, then they pull out the chair, then there's someone getting blood. It's like, no, we don't need all that. Now,
Baylee did go for a dive through the bottom ropes. Tiffany caught her with a forearm, then tied her up in the ring bunting. That's as far as they went with foreign objects. She pulled the ring bunting off the side there and wrapped it around her to kind of keep her from moving out of the way. Tiffany hit the big running knee. That's when Baylee recovered and hit the Baylee to belly suplex on the floor that you mentioned. That went to the second commercial. Later on, big sequence. Baylee blocks the Alabama Slam cartwheel on the floor. When Tiffany cartwheels into it, she's done that before. We saw her do that in the Money in the Bank. Baylee blocked it, then dropped Tiffany across the announce table, then snap suplexed her back onto the floor. That's nasty. When Baylee went to talk trash with Roxanne Perez at ringside, rolled Tiff back into the ring, hit her top turn elbow drop, and all of that for only a 2.5 count. Baylee goes right into a crossface off of that. Tiffany pulls her hair to break the hold, like slams her down face first into the mat by her hair to break the hold. Then we got just, exchanges of power moves. Tiffany with a spine buster for a 2 count. Baylee with another Baylee to belly suplex for a 2 count. Then Baylee stopped Tiffany from hopping up the turn. So you mentioned they teased the Alabama Slam before she finally hit it. They also teased the prettiest moonsault ever before she finally hit it. She's hopping up the turnbuckles on her way there. Baylee stops her from hopping all the way to the top, drops her face first onto the top turnbuckle, then hits a float over powerbomb into the middle turnbuckle, gets a 2 count off of that. Big spinning back slam for a 2 count by Baylee. And that brought you into Baylee's last bit of offense, which was going for the Rose Plant. And that's where Tiffany blocked and went into finally hitting the Alabama Slam and then finally hitting the top turn moonsault. This looked like a premium live event match where they not only have a lot of time, but they use that time to have not only false finishes, but false finishers.
Yes.
She goes for the move and doesn't get it.
Whoever the agent is that like made it, and then the combo of the two workers, it's just like, bravo, well done, right?
Yeah.
I could keep...
How does this compare to Nia Jax Naomi on the first SmackDown of the year for you?
It's up there, right?
Right.
It's definitely up there, and I was really worried about SmackDown with the 3 hours. I thought, oh no, we're gonna have two TV show segments or talk show segments. We're gonna have, you know,
We haven't seen one yet, right? There's been no need for Grayson Waller effect filler on the 3 hour SmackDown.
we're gonna have Logan Paul going out there stumbling around on a promo that's like just okay. You know, I thought it was gonna be like a lot of junk like that, and they have just been like, hey, let's just put on better matches and deliver it. You know, that this is on par with the one earlier. I don't know which one's better. I'll have to really. I I can't shoot on that one, but yeah, you have two potential already like matches of the year, right?
Yeah, it's the
that are
middle
right
of
there.
January, so there you go.
So it's definitely kudos to kind of how they set the match up. There's a lot of thought within it. Like you said, some stuff that's really cool is just that it's not just a bunch of false finishes. Oh, do the finisher, then there's a pin, then the kick out, finisher, kick out, pin. No, it's like, oh, can you get the finish? Right?
Yes, she's not hitting Alabama slams all match, and they're just not working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then they're just do Alabama slam and then belly to belly, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yep. The super lazy thing. But no. So complete banger in the main event. I can go on and on about it, but we do have a lot of SmackDown to talk about. Yep. So that's the lead, and we're gonna mosey on down over to the follow. And the follow. You want me to pick the match here? I think that's usually
sure. There's 5 more. Where do you want to go next?
I'll tell you what. It's going to be not the main event, but easily could have been with Rey Mysterio versus Kevin Owens. These two have never wrestled before, which is
they were saying that, yeah,
fascinating. And it ends up being that Kevin Owens knocks off Rey Mysterio here and gets the win. And then Cody, he's beating up Rey Mysterio more and more. And then Cody comes down and there's a big showdown between Cody and Kevin Owens. I thought this one was pretty good. What'd you think of this match, Dom?
Good idea to get Kevin Owens some more heel heat by putting him out there with hometown favorite. They're in San Diego. It's Rey Mysterio Jr. And I mean, it's a decent match. He's not really doing terrible things to him in the match. The promo to open the show was more Kevin Owens really laying into the heel persona. But it's the post-match where Kevin Owens goes to shake Rey's hand, but then kicks him and tries for another pile driver until Cody Rhodes' music hits and makes the save. And then there's just a pull-apart brawl between all of them for the end of it. So Rey looks good in this match. You wonder how much longer the hardest working retired man in WWE can keep doing this. But for this match, he looked good.
Hey, did you see Kevin Owens had the Rey Mysterio Hall of Fame shirt on? Did you notice that?
I did not look that closely at it.
Yeah, his T-shirt was the Rey Mysterio Hall of Fame T-shirt, kind of as a little bit of a troll, I guess, to him. And
yeah, like, what are you doing here, old man?
Yeah, and so I said I gave that one a plus, and then also, yes, the hardest working retired man in the WWE. Rey Mysterio continues to work here. Just some observations from my end. Crowd loves Rey Mysterio, really, really into him, and this is no surprise because they're in San Diego. But at the end of the day, it's cool to get specifically a really cool reaction for a wrestler that you wouldn't typically see. They're chanting 619 in the beginning. Couple other spots. Okay, so I will talk about like what I liked in general about the match was the contrast of styles between Kevin Owens and Rey Mysterio with the luchador stuff. You could just see Kevin Owens is just not too used to doing a lot of the moves, like getting the Hurricane Rana and how to take it and stuff like that.
Did it work for you?
But I think that made it better.
Okay.
because it doesn't look like so smooth, and it looks more what it would naturally look like when they're doing the Hurricane Rana, where he's just kind of like, it's not like the two that are so coordinated so much that it looks like gymnastics. It looks
Yep.
more like, a fight as a result. It
Yeah.
looks more like a wrestling match as a result of the uncoordinated bumps that KO was taking. He's not flexible by any means, right? So, I liked the contrast in styles and the way that Ray was able to match up with them. And then in addition to that, there's a lot of luchador stuff, and there's a lot. It's not even necessarily luchador, but it's very fast moving sometimes in WWE that just doesn't click. And I think Rey Mysterio is somebody that, if you're going to do flippy stuff and you're going to do gymnasticy stuff, he does it at a slow pace, right? So
Mm.
I felt like throughout this match, it was slow paced enough that it doesn't seem like choreographed dance. But how about you? I'm kind of going on a bit about the match. Anything
I
that?
wrote that too. I wrote slow pace early.
Mhm.
Like they didn't just go into a million miles an hour luchador match. And it continued a little bit. Kevin Owens is this big brawling guy, and he slows down Rey Mysterio
Mhm.
because Ray's taking a lot of punishment. And Ray's trying to quicken the pace for the strikes and the sequences, and Kevin Owens is trying to just beat him down because he's the bigger guy. I thought the contrast of styles, I thought it worked. Now,
Mhm.
Kevin Owens is pretty athletic himself. He'll use the ropes. He flips around. He does sentons, swantons. He does all sorts of stuff.
Mhm.
He does tilt-a-whirls, sit-out moves. So Kevin Owens is my feet are firmly on the floor, brother. I'm not leaving. The way they used to joke about Hulk Hogan, not using anything that's not feet firmly planted on the ground. Um, the closing sequence, for instance, Ray got his knees up on a top turn swanton by Kevin Owens, then hit a 619 when Kevin Owens fell into the ropes, climbed to the top turnbuckle, but Kevin Owens pushed the ref into the top rope, knocking Ray off balance. He crotched himself, fell to the mat. That's where Kevin hit the pop-up power bomb for the pinfall. A really good sequence. It didn't have to be, stunner, frog splash, although he did the frog splash earlier and got a 2 count out of it. Did a little mocking of Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero there as well with it.
Yeah.
I liked it. And again, they give these guys about 15, 16 minutes for the match. There was only one commercial break, but it was a long match. Ray escaped the pop-up powerbomb earlier, hit a tilt-the-world DDT.
Yeah.
Ray blocked the superplex attempt, and then did a float over power bomb, and then another float over power bomb on the mat for a 2 count. So these guys are working in sequences as well. You didn't get a chance like, oh, they just did that move and they're just doing the same move over and over again until it works. These guys worked with the extra time to add more to the match. I think that's a good theme for what they're doing on SmackDown, giving especially their best workers more time to do things like that.
Dom, it's a pretty good sign that we're talking about both matches like this, where the wrestling was good, because there are
Yep.
often times when we're like, oh man, it's just an okay SmackDown, or,
Yeah.
it's just like, you kind of have to get through. Okay, this is a storyline SmackDown. No, this was just a good one where we had good wrestling on it.
Yep.
And this specifically the main event, and then this match with Rey Mysterio and Kevin Owens. I was a little. I want to say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little Vincey, with the hometown hero losing. He always, for whatever reason, seems to have the hometown person lose. This could be pay-per-views and blow-offs and stuff like that. They'll have them lose in their hometown.
Sure.
I don't know if he likes the silence, if it's a rib, like, because think of back in the day, Vince late 2000 or 20, like 2015 to 2020, when he was like 100% in control, and he was like really losing it. Like, how much of the stuff was he just ribbing people, you know? But
Montreal screw job.
a total rib, yeah.
Logan Paul just lost in Cleveland, trying desperately to be a babyface. Just a little bit. Come on, cheer for me a little.
That's amazing callback. Logan Paul in Cleveland wearing Browns colors, getting booed in the Brown Stadium. He wants it so much. He wants to be the baby face, but he's not even close to there. He's good, but he's not going to be. He'll never be your hero.
We'll maybe talk about that in Cheap Heat a little bit later.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so I think we've talked a lot about these two matches. Where do you want to head to next?
Let's see here. I thought the opening match, Nia Jackson, Candice LeRae versus Bianca Belair and Naomi, it goes about 10 minutes, but it's a good opening match. Teases a little bit of, now that Candice LeRae kind of won, she got Nia's affection over Tiffany Straton, but, in the worst way possible, Nia losing the belt. Now that's getting down to Nia and Candice. They're also teasing a little bit that there may be problems between Bianca and Naomi. So this was a lot of storyline stuff wrapped up in a match. Finish of this, Naomi blind tag, hits the tailbone, sit out powerbomb on Candice LeRae for the pinfall. Very briefly earlier, Nia tried to break up a cover that Bianca had on Candice with a leg drop. Bianca rolled out of the way. Nia leg drops Candice.
Wow.
What did you like from this match or not?
Well, there's a couple things I liked. Nia called Bianca a bitch, and I can hear her call her a bitch, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. We also got a "This is awesome" chant, which I always think of you now when we get the "This is awesome" chant, because why would you get a "This is awesome" chant unless you don't really know the wrestlers' names. Good use of the braid by Bianca, kind of getting slammed down, and it's something I always forget about, and then until it's actually happening, that she has that huge braid on her. And then Bianca body pressing Candice LeRae out of the ring. I think this was the highlight. Bianca body pressing Candice LeRae out of the ring, then they do the commercial break. Because instead of it just being a dumb dive out of the ring, then the commercial break, which they were doing tonight, I thought they were listening to us, but they've gone back to doing it. Just the body press, Bianca gets her up, kind of no problem, right? And Candice is so tiny, it's a good use of Candice. And they just toss Candice onto Nia down there for the catch. And,
variation on the dive. Instead of diving on your opponent, you get thrown onto your teammate.
Far more impressive looking too, right? Like the body press looks really cool.
Yep.
And so many big men back in the day did it, and it's funny because Bianca's not even a big man; she's just really naturally athletic and strong as hell, right?
Yeah, college athlete they talked about, a track and field star in college. Yeah, she is an athlete.
If women's sports, like if she was a man, I feel like she'd be a pro athlete. There's just not a lot of pro women's sports. She feels like someone like if the NFL had like an equivalent to women's, like she'd be like a running back or a linebacker. She's like that level of athleticism.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like this one. Anything else from it that you want to chat about?
Not really. More of it was backstage stuff. Bianca saying to Naomi, still don't have any word on who attacked Jade, huh? No word at all. Maybe teasing that it was Naomi who wanted to muscle her way into the tag team. Some of that, the Nia Candice stuff will be fun to keep going. Will they both stay heel? Will they both stay a tandem, or will this break up early? You don't want a repeat of what Nia did with Tiffany, because that's just boring. Like you don't want to recycle it that soon. But what are they going to do with that? So good intrigue here. I like it. And for once, it was the heels that did not, work so smoothly together.
Right. I know. There was actually a little animosity.
Heels were having some problems,
As they should.
Yep.
They're bad people. They're not like great. It's so funny. They become like great, excellent teamwork, team oriented, and you're like, wow, these are bad guys. Like they should be stumbling all over themselves and being selfish. No, they're like selfless.
Yep.
Anyways, maybe the next match we can go to, and if you don't mind taking this one over, is
Sure.
the Motor City Machine Guns versus Fasa Delgado. Los Garza.
Yes, Angel and Humberto. There we go. This match goes about maybe 12, 13 minutes in that range there, maybe around the 12 mark. Only one commercial break. The finish is pretty deadly, running down for a distraction, but it backfires when they distract the ref for too long. And the ref misses the pin by Humberto on Chris Sabin. The Motor City Machine Guns recover and hit the Skull and Bones double team on Humberto for the pinfall. Alex Shelley getting the pinfall there. Neat match in the sense that we've been seeing for a while now that both Angel and Humberto, they work pretty well. Going back maybe a couple of months, Humberto had a good LA Knight U.S. Championship Open Challenge where he came out and challenged LA Knight. I thought Humberto's match with LA Knight was better than Santos Escobar's match with LA Knight. They're referencing Humberto's stablemate there in Legado del Fantasma. Santos Escobar, of course, running things there. So Humberto can work. Looks like Angel can work as well. So we already know Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin can work. So everybody in this match did really, really well, I thought. Los Garzas are also quick. So they're putting the Motor City Machine Guns in there with other teams that are also quick, which I think showcases Motor City Machine Guns very well. But it also showcases Los Garza. I mean, these guys were in there with another fast team. So, like, let's see, the Angel and Humberto did a double team knee to the head and kick to the head on Chris Sabin on the apron to go to the first commercial. Let's see, Berto hit a good sit out, one arm slam onto Alex Shelley for a 2 count. Angel power slam on Alex, and Berto did a springboard enziguri on Sabin simultaneously. Angel covered Alex Shelley for a 2 count. So this was a good showcase for Los Garzas. I like that they're building up the tag team division as a whole. These guys look good even though they lost.
Yeah.
And the Motor City Machine Guns, of course, they look pretty good. Little awkward when they went for the double figure 4. Alex Shelley had a figure 4 on Humberto. Sabin went to figure 4 Angel, but Sabin looked like he had trouble applying it. Looked a little weird there, a little botchy, but eventually they got it bolt on. Humberto got to the ropes to break it. He was the legal man. I don't know why Chris Sabin just broke the hold. Like, I don't know what was that up with, but you could see why Alex broke the hold on Berto. So good stuff here. Of course, we got plenty of double team moves by the Motor City Machine Guns, including the finish, the timing, and everything. They're fun to watch just with the timing. It hasn't gotten old yet. You haven't gotten to the thing where, it looks like they're doing the same match over and over again. You haven't gotten to that place yet with them. I wonder if we will at some point, though. So it's something to keep in mind if they start getting stale.
Yeah.
But for now, I don't think they're stale, at least not yet.
And maybe it's tough right now because SmackDown, from my perspective, in ring is very hot. And if I am going to nitpick, I'm going to say this is the matches I'm looking forward to least is the Motor City Machine Guns on the roster. And it's more of a compliment, right, to the rest of the roster.
Yes.
They just go out and they kind of do really hyper fast paced wrestling with and they all kind of like jitterbug around for a while,
Mhm.
which is kind of what I was kind of alluding to with the Rey Mysterio stuff. Like, you don't got to just jitterbug around because you can. It's like
Mhm.
work up into it, build into it. But that's her style, and I know it's a more modern style that sometimes is appreciated by a different type of fan. But I am still a bit of a curmudgeon, so I will be.
Okay, question.
Mhm.
Better tag team match style-wise, the opener with Nia Jax and Candice LeRae against Bianca and Naomi, or this one?
Opener for sure.
Opener. Me too. I appreciate how the quickness and the timing of guys like Los Garzas and Motor City Machine Guns. But yeah, I think I enjoyed the opener a little more.
They lean a little too much on all that, like quickness, double team, quickness, double team. I'm like, the
Mhm.
double team doesn't even mean anything. Sometimes I'm like, there's not like a ton of selling. There's like, I don't know. They're just flying around. It. I don't want to put them
Say
in.
it, Spot Fest. Say it.
It's a video game spot fest. Yes. When everyone's trying to get their really cool move in because they want to have the cool 10-second short. I mean, maybe they come from the indies and you have to get that 10-second short or TikTok out there. So some
Mhm.
people see the moves and be like, oh, that's crazy. But they come in doing some of the style that, and I'm a bigger fan of the earlier style where, there's the hot tag. And that's the WWE style, right? The
Sure.
hot tag stuff.
Hot tags are everywhere. It's the Rock and Roll Express, for crying out loud.
Yeah, right. This isn't
45 years ago, Ricky Morton get the crap beat out of him in hot tag Robert Gibson.
Mhm. Yeah. So one more match here. Carmelo Hayes versus Jay Uso. Or excuse me, Jimmy Uso. Big
Mhm.
Jim, if you will.
Mhm.
Let's call him Big Jim. So
Sure.
Carmelo Hayes versus Big Jim. And they were having a good little match here, and then it gets thrown out as the bloodline comes in and attacks everyone. Jacob Fatu comes in with Tamatanga, and they clean house. They beat the hell out of Big Jim Uso, and then once Big Jim's knocked out, Carmelo kind of tries to buddy up with him. Then he gets destroyed, Carmelo. So
Yep.
they're not even like, they're like, no, you're not part of the bloodline. Get out of here. They smash him down. And then Solo Sokoa makes his way to the ring. Jacob Fatu is in the ring with Solo Sokoa, and Solo has the mic. He's looking around. He can't get a word out, almost like Dom Mysterio style, because there's
Yes.
so many people booing. Not as loud as Dom, but
No.
in the same vein, right?
Yep.
So Solo bounces, and then he hands the mic, and then Jacob Fatu has the mic. And I've been like, wow, Jacob Fatu, he's never talked.
He
Can
cut a
talk.
pretty good promo, I thought. What did you think?
He can talk. He sounds like what he looks like. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he went on the mic and you're like, oh, he's not a monster. Like Brock Lesnar has it a little bit. He's a very high pitched voice.
Okay.
So he comes out and he's like, I'm Brock Lesnar, And it's just like, wow, you look like such a killer. But then you open your mouth and it's like, oh my God. But he sounds like a killer. And then I just put minus because of stupid what chants that the crowd was doing. The first times this guy's ever talked.
Yeah, out in the ring. They've given him some backstage stuff, which I guess is their new way of easing people into the promos.
Mm-hmm.
Let him talk backstage. Yeah, I noticed a little bit of the what's too, but Jacob was fighting him pretty well on it.
Yeah.
Good heel fight there. I liked it. I like that they gave Jacob Fatu the mic time, and I like what happened afterwards. Jacob Fatu and Tamatanga in the ring. LA Knight's music hits. LA Knight attacks him from the crowd side, gets the advantage on both guys for a while until Tama grabs a leg. Jacob hits a running forearm, and that's when Braun Strowman's music hits. He makes the save, catches a dive attempt by Tamatanga, confronts Jacob Fatu in the ring, but before they can square off, Tamatanga pulls Jacob Fatu to safety on the outside, and they leave without getting into further fisticuffs. What do you think of this? And what do you think of the move? Because we thought we threw out this a few weeks ago that maybe getting the U.S. Championship belt off of LA Knight, especially since he's getting attacked by the Bloodline, is to elevate him into the Bloodline storyline. It looks like that's where they're going, at least short term here. they've already announced LA Knight versus Tama Tonga 1-on-1 on, I think, the next SmackDown right before Saturday night's main event on the 24th. And Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. I think that maybe going both nights. I don't know if either one of them got pushed to Saturday night's main event, which is something for you and I to talk about. Do you want to do SmackDown next week or Saturday night's main event?
We should do Saturday night's main event.
Okay.
Although, I mean, I think you pointed out to me we may be burying a little, or we may be spoiling a little bit of cheap heat, but I think you pointed out that Saturday night main event has like the same numbers as SmackDown. But it's the main event. Let's give it a whirl. Let's keep it going. See if it's a special. Hey, and it's on NBC, and we can watch it live together, which is great.
Yep. And I will still watch the SmackDown from the night before because I do want to see some of these matches.
Yeah.
Great. Well, what do you think of LA Knight? Braun Strowman's a former world champion. And he's, the monster of all monsters. So it doesn't take much to put Braun Strowman into your top level storyline, like with the Bloodline 2.0. What do you think of LA Knight getting elevated there? From they give him a belt on the second tier. Now he doesn't have a belt. They're moving him back into near the top tier kind of program.
With LA Knight, it shows you that he's the top guy on SmackDown. That's not Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns. It's LA Knight. I think he's number 3. And Roman Reigns is probably, I mean, he's not the champ, but he feels like the top guy in the company. And then Cody's right there too. So I think LA Knight's slighted right below them, which is a good place to be, right?
Yep.
I think he's even above Kevin Owens at this point, and he's really come such a far way that you can literally call him a top guy, and I don't think it's a stretch at all. I think he is one of the top guys on the program. So
I'm gonna like seeing this. Are you gonna like seeing this? Him with the Bloodline, him against the Bloodline.
It's gonna be refreshing, right? Because it's been Roman for the last 6 months. It's been them versus Roman. But they haven't had like, the Bloodline versus whoever, right? So, no, it should be refreshing, and I like the direction they're heading in for sure, because it feels like for a while there, LA Knight was playing with the kids, if you will, like people they were bringing up from NXT, people that weren't really, necessarily going to have a big push anytime soon. Like he's wrestling Carmelo Hayes a lot. He's wrestling Andrade a lot. Santos Escobar,
Gave Humberto a good rub there.
He's giving people the rub. He was doing that stuff and getting those guys over. But
Ludwig Kaiser, but it's time for him to see what he can do.
Yeah, let's put him up with the big guys. Put him up with the Bloodline story and make him the A story rather than be the really good B or C story.
This is a good mirror with what they're doing with Drew McIntyre as the heel going after the original Bloodline who were baby faces. Maybe now have LA Knight as the babyface go after the heel guys in the Bloodline who've cost him matches.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting in my way. You cost me the U.S. title. You cost me the world title back when he fought Roman Reigns. So it's LA Knight and Drew McIntyre each on their revenge tours. The heel going after the baby faces, the baby faces going after the heels. So I think that's good there. Hey, you know what? There was one more match on this card. It was Piper Niven versus B-Fab.
Yeah.
Only went about 3 minutes, but there was a lot of action. Chelsea Green was her annoying self, distracting, trying to interfere. Piper Niven winds up winning this. Chelsea Green distracts B-Fab. Piper recovers in the ring, hits a senton, then a pop-up sit-out driver there, which is very athletic for someone of Piper Niven's size and build. For the pinfall, post-match, a 2-on-1 beatdown of B-Fab until Michin arrives with a kendo stick. So it looks like the lower tier of the women's division has some stuff going on that has legs to it. Michin, B-Fab. We've been impressed by B-Fab when they finally gave her a chance. Michin as well. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven's got the new gimmick as the security detail for Chelsea Green.
Mhm.
It's like quasi comedy. It's great. But in case you forgot, Piper Niven is a really good athlete as a wrestler as well.
This was a fun one for considering how long it's been. Like they had, I think they put it together pretty well. And BFAB, are you trying to be our jobber of the year? Because you might get there. You might get there.
Very good. And Piper Niven was in your women's match of the year for 2024 against Bianca Belair, right?
This is true. Mostly because it was the recency bias, but it was a good match.
It was a good match. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Piper Niven's been in good matches. She's not just a gimmick wrestler or a comedy, a henchwoman who's going to just take the fall all the time.
I wanted to ask you, there were some signs in the crowd. I don't know if you saw this sign, but did you see the John Cena sign?
No, John Cena with a Z.
It's Xina. So let me show you what it looks like.
Okay, John Cena. Is that a reference I don't understand?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Xi Jinping, the premier of China.
Yes.
Yes, and how John Cena's for his movies was very deferential to the Chinese.
Yes.
There was a big hubbub over human rights abuses in China and how U.S. Hollywood and U.S. movies and TV shows, the NBA had this problem too, were being very, very deferential to what the Chinese wanted from them as far as content, as far as promotions and advertising. And people in the U.S. were saying, these guys are imperial communists and they're enslaving people over in, the Uyghurs, and they're still really awful to people. Why are you changing your product for them?
Yeah.
Like, what are you inadvertently promoting or tacitly approving or maybe explicitly approving when you do this? Oh, John Cena. Oh, that's gold, Jerry, gold.
So that got really big. I'll keep it up because it's a hilarious picture. This was like huge for a while because he was doing all this, all these tours in China. But so his big thing, he got in trouble. His big thing was he said something along the lines of like, "Oh, I love Taiwan," or like, "Oh yeah, Taiwan's a great place," and he had to apologize for saying that Taiwan existed as an independent country. So he does the whole apology in, I guess, Mandarin or whatever Chinese language you would want to refer to it as.
He did learn their language for it.
He learned their language to do the apology. He's like, very sorry. And it's like, Taiwan is an independent country. So the internet went nuts with this. They have John Cena here. And then all the memes were like social credit score plus 1000, like thousands and thousands of social credit scores because he was, and then they're like, whenever he said something about Taiwan, it's like minus 1000, it's all in the red. It's like you have no more social credit score,
The internet is a wonderful place, isn't it?
Yes. There's,
this is good internet. There is bad internet, but this is good internet.
Yeah. The best is, I have to show you the YouTube clip. It's only a minute. I think it's going to be worth it to tie the whole thing together.
Okay. Are you able to share this? Is there some sound?
Yes. It's totally, I'm going to be able to share it. Here, let me just.
Okay, very good.
It is, so this is a theoretical, ready for this? It's John Cena's Chinese theme song and entrance, as if though John Cena was a person.
Oh my goodness, for sure.
From Shanghai, China, weighing in at 251 pounds, John Cena! The atmosphere inside this arena for this one is absolutely insane, guys. John Cena showing hustle, loyalty, and respect. No telling how long he'll be able to keep this up. No one in the history of WWE has done this in the ring, but outside the ring.
Yeah. So he's saluting Xi Jinping.
The internet is a wonderful place.
I saw the sign and I was like, I'm talking about it during the show. We've never talked about John
I love
Cena.
it. I love it. That's fantastic.
Well, yeah.
That's I think that's our recap of the show there. Was there any other backstage segments that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I think it's time, Dom. I
I do want to say one.
Mhm. Oh,
Right
sorry.
before the main event, the women's WWE Women's Championship match, video promo teasing the return of Charlotte Flair.
Oh, okay.
Well
Beautiful.
done placement in the show there.
Mm.
Right before the women's title match.
Ah,
That's a
it's
good
coming
one.
right for it.
Yeah, other than that, it was, just your standard backstage stuff. Nick Aldis trying to get Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens to sign a new stipulation for their match, neither one wanting to do it. Eventually, Nick Aldis gets mad, says, you guys are going to have your contract signing next week during Saturday night's main event in San Antonio with Shawn Michaels. So it was just a bunch of excuse for Shawn Michaels.
Right.
Okie doke. It's not like he's has nothing to do. He's doing a lot of stuff down in NXT from what I've heard. But Shawn Michaels should be there at Saturday night's main event on January 25th. Saturday of 1 week from when we are live streaming this Don't Bury the Lead here. Other than that, that's the show. Is there anything you wanted to talk about that we missed?
No.
Anybody in the chat or in the comments, tell us, is there anything we missed that you're like, what are you guys doing? How could you miss this beautiful thing that happened on the show? Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. Also, wherever you're catching us on the live stream, whether it be on X, on Twitch, on YouTube, please know that the motherload of our content is on YouTube. Find us on YouTube. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel. Subscribe. Like our stuff. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We have people who've also clicked the join button for a premium subscription. Do that if you're so enthused about it. And of course, check out not only our archive of live streams while you're there, but the edited clips, John, that you make, the hashtag shorts that are under 60 seconds. Join us in the chat. Join us in the comments. Like, subscribe. And I think we're ready for the thumb drive, eh?
I think so, Dom.
It's drive time. It's the thumb drive. This is where you and I are going to distill this entire program we watched into a simple thumbs up or a thumbs down. There are no ties. There are also no letter grades, no number grades, no star ratings. You're taking this course, pass, fail.
Dom, we're not Dave Meltzer. We don't do star ratings. We don't do 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome. We don't do 2 stars at the Core State Spectrum. No. We do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So, are you ready?
I am, my friend.
3, 2, 1. Oh, 2 thumbs up. Why'd you give this one a thumbs up, Dom?
The third hour, I was really hedging until we got to that third hour. The tag match with the Motor City Machine Guns and Los Garzas was good, but it was formulaic for what Motor City Machine Guns showed us. The match with Big Jim and Carmelo Hayes got thrown out, although it was good to see LA Knight. It was dragging a little too much for the show. I'm glad they had the third hour because the third hour I thought was really excellent pro wrestling and excellent wrestling television as well. I liked it.
I agree with your assessment. I was kind of getting like a little anxious throughout it, and I'm like, oh, it's 3 hours. God, I got more of this. I'm like, this is so like, it was okay. Okay, like maybe I'll give it a thumbs up, maybe I'll give it a thumbs down, and then the third hour hit, and it was excellent. It wasn't good. It was excellent. It was 2 superb matches. When we talk about match of the year when we do SmackDown, I'll have to think of both of those matches to consider them.
Yeah.
That's how good it was. So just hit a complete home run in the third hour. And if they give me those kind of matches in the third hour, okay, cool. I'm cool with it. So 2 thumbs up from us. Tom, we have snow in the forecast tomorrow for the Eagles game in Philadelphia. which means there's snow in the forecast in South Jersey. Cold, right?
It's cold, but around here, we have ways of warming up things here at Don't Bury the Lead. We also have ways of, perhaps lowering the price. It's time for cheap heat, isn't it?
Dom, it's time for cheap heat. Cheap heat is where we talk about trending topics in WWE, AEW, other parts of the wrestling world as well. Basically, what we do is we talk about trending topics, and then we talk about these trending topics. And it's kind of the bread and butter and how we develop the entire channel on YouTube. Talk about the trending topics. We'll cut those down into shorter videos. We cut them down into just shorts too. But then in addition to that, we'll release the full cheap heat as well. This is kind of the bread and butter. This is the backbone of the show, and it's been a lot of fun doing it with you the last couple of years, Dom. So without further ado, anyone that's watching right now, buckle up. This is cheap heat, and I'm going to kick it to Dom here.
Well, this is this really has become not only a fun part of the show, but it's we got into this because we're wrestling fans, and pro wrestling is bigger than the one show a week that we're able to watch and really analyze and live stream. WWE is bigger than just SmackDown, and thankfully pro wrestling in the US is bigger than even just the WWE. So yeah, Don't Bury the Lead, cheap heat becomes our chance to look a little beyond just SmackDown or just the premium live event that we've done. And who is that on our screen there? That's Paul Heyman. He was on Logan Paul's podcast, Impulsive, and WrestleZone had a couple of good transcriptions of some of the stuff they talked about there. First, Paul Heyman was talking about on storytelling. He likes to know where it's going far ahead, like a year and a half ahead, 2.5 years ahead, because that tells him what he's aiming for, and that lets him know what he builds up the previous chapters. You can sort of see that in the Bloodline storyline, can't you? It looks like they have an ending in mind, even if we don't know it yet, or it looks like they get to a big payoff every year and a half, and everything else builds really well to that whatever big mile marker is. This is really good script writing.
And for me, it's really interesting because Heyman is such an excellent storyteller. To get any sort of nugget of knowledge or advice is pretty valuable, especially for me and you, Dom. I create these shorter clips, so maybe I'll try to implement that. And then you, with kind of you've got your own Substack where you're writing articles. So anything from such a good storyteller, any kind of nugget is really cool to hear. So. And he says it on the Logan Paul podcast, which is
says it on the Logan Paul podcast. So he's kind of shooting, although you wonder if it's a little bit of a work because Logan Paul is still a heel when he does come into the WWE and perform there. WrestleMania 41 is coming up this year, and Paul Heyman is phrasing it to Logan Paul like, who's your opponent for WrestleMania 43? Not just WrestleMania 41 and 42. He wants to know at least 18 months out for a story arc for someone whom he thinks could be as prestigious as Logan Paul. He wants to know, in order for him to build Logan Paul's 2025, he has to know where Logan Paul's going in 2026. Real long-term storytelling. I guess this is a luxury you have in modern pro wrestling where guys sign long-term contracts and are there for a while. In the territory days where guys had to barnstorm and move from territory to territory, you didn't have 12-month storylines.
Yeah.
Unless two guys were chasing each other around the territories. You didn't have that. So this is a luxury of the big business that major pro wrestling has become, that they can tie up guys for years with long-term contracts and actually think about it on this kind of scale.
They have to do the long-term stuff as a result of the fact that it's so frequent and it's so, there's a weekly show. There's two, at least I mean, we'll say Netflix or NXT's its own thing, but
Yep.
there's 2 weekly shows, so you better have you're going to be there for a while, right? There's a lot of content you're putting out, so the long-term storytelling's crucial.
And it's not like the old tours used to be of house shows where guys would wrestle basically the same match in every city.
Mm-hmm.
You can't wrestle the same match SmackDown after SmackDown after SmackDown or Raw after Raw after Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Things have to progress week to week. So yeah, it's a really good mind, a good booking mind like Paul Heyman. Very valuable here, and he's the fact that he's giving this kind of advice not only to everybody but directly to Logan Paul. Maybe Logan Paul isn't retired after all. You know, I like it. Paul Heyman also told him he's one of the truly hateable villains in wrestling. So maybe if Logan Paul can stop trying to get people to like him for 5 seconds and realize that as a heel, he may be a big-time moneymaker and a big-time draw and just go with it. You know, this is quite an endorsement from Paul Heyman telling you that you're one of the truly hateable villains in wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like it. You mentioned the Eagles. Triple H, the Eagles, as they beat Green Bay last week, they tried to celebrate with a pedigree. It did not look good at all. The guy taking the move went down way early. No timing whatsoever. Triple H saw this online and said, there's a reason we say don't try this at home. Congrats on the win, Quinion Mitchell and the Eagles. Quinion Mitchell trying to pedigree Cooper DeJean.
It was great, and also great because I had no idea this is what they were doing. But now that they said, oh my God, it's so bad.
Right, it is. It's awful.
It's not even close.
This is botchamania here.
Yeah. So this one was so bad, but at the end of the day, I didn't know that they were even doing it. But big win for my Eagles. So
Yes.
I will be happy to see them do terrible pedigrees all the way to the Super Bowl.
Right. Very good. Triple H, we like it.
And Triple
More
H is
WWE
great with the
news.
response.
Saturday night's main event. This comes to us from comingsoon.net. Talking about WWE Saturday night's main event is back, giving the early schedule for 2025. But also in here, they mention, let's see, let's scroll to it. Where is it? They were reporting somewhere in here that they were doing the numbers they were doing on as far as viewers were in around the 2 point here. Saturday night's main event at the Nassau Veterans Coliseum, December 14th. We saw that one and recapped it for Don't Bury the Lead. Check it out in our archive. It drew 2.3 million viewers across NBC and Peacock. That's the low end of the average range for what SmackDown was doing Friday nights on Fox.
And there was no Peacock either.
Right? It was just
only
Fox.
Yeah.
Yes. They were drawing 2.5 regularly. So it just a matter of perspective. Like they're thrilled about they're crowing about 2.3 million viewers on for primetime broadcast wrestling. You were doing that on Fox.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder that maybe Fox really was just expecting so much more than that.
Yeah.
And maybe did not want wrestling back at the price they had to pay if it was only drawing 2.5s. But I mean, 2.5 is a good number for wrestling this day and age. Saturday night's main event is drawing 2.3. We'll see what it does this January 25th.
You know what?
How those numbers compare. Go ahead.
It didn't jump off it didn't jump off at you like, whoa. If they had like even 5 million, it'd be like, wow, double SmackDown. That's pretty damn good. 2.3 million is just like, okay, you're on par with all your other shows. So
yes,
it feels like another show. But
January 25th, May 24th, which I believe is Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day will be the 26th then. And July 12th, which will be after July Independence Day weekend. So some holiday weekend stuff coming up late spring, early summer, in addition to the one we will be doing in 7 days on January 25th. They still have one more for the fall that they have not scheduled a firm date and location yet, apparently. But yeah, it's supposed to be a quarterly thing. If they're satisfied with numbers that made Fox furrow their brows on Friday nights, then okay, changing tastes. AEW returns. These all come to us from an account called Sebas. This is from AEW Dynamite and the Maximum Carnage that happened this week. 3 big returns to the ring. 1 is Samoa Joe. 2 was Kenny Omega, who actually had a match and won. There he is getting the 3 count. And the 3rd, MVP's return to in-ring actions. John, which one do you want to talk about first? You watch AEW a lot more than I do, and you know each of these guys. Longtime stars, world champs somewhere, wherever they wrestled. Some guys multiple times and in multiple promotions. Which one were you most interested in seeing of these 3 returns to the ring?
Well, I do want to bring up one because I think it's a little bit more relevant for us because MVP is part of the Hurt Syndicate. Is that what it's called?
Maybe.
It is Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP. And they're a trios team. They do a lot of trio stuff in AEW.
All right.
So they're a trios team.
That's a thing in AEW, right? They have a lot of 6-man tags. They even have a 6-man tag belt, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and man, oh man, were they over.
Wow.
The crowd was really into them. But it's Bobby Lashley, who we all know the crowd loves.
Yep.
Then it's Shelton Benjamin, who is an excellent in-ring performer. I am shocked by how good he is. And then MVP is their mouthpiece, but he can wrestle, I guess. But, you know.
How did he do in this match? Did you happen to see this?
He's all right. You know, he was serviceable. I'll put it like that, which is kind of at his age and his, you know, skill set. That's good enough, right? He's serviceable in a 6-man tag.
Sure, he probably had some ring rust on him. It's been a while since he's been an in-ring wrestler.
Yeah. You know how it is. You got Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. Those 2 should be out there more than you know, MVP. But MVP just kind of makes the team complete.
Okay.
So that one was cool. I missed Samoa Joe. I saw that happen, so I didn't see it happen. But
apparently it had to do with Christian Cage. He came down and ran to the ring for a save. Christian Cage and Christian Cage's faction there were doing a little post-match havoc, and that's when Samoa Joe returned for the save. This is the best screen grab because you can actually see Samoa Joe's face. Pretty good sharpness there to the video. He's throwing somebody out of the ring. Is that Nick Wayne, maybe?
Yeah, Nick Wayne.
Okay. Samoa Joe is back. What do you think?
That's great news for them for sure. I wonder if he just took time off when he dropped the belt just to get healthy, or if he took some time off because it's like, okay, they do that sometimes at AEW. Take a lot of time off, come back, you're going to be a lot more hot.
Yep.
Omega looked great too. So Kenny Omega returned, and he was doing all the Omega stuff, even though his intestines had been removed after that horrible accident, or I should say, disease.
Diverticulitis, serious illness. Yes.
Yeah. So good to have Kenny back in the saddle. Kenny's going to be the most important of those 3, obviously. I think he really runs AEW, and he's again the top guy there.
EVP, charismatic. He's a babyface, right? Crowd loves him.
Crowd loves him.
He gets the win over someone here. I don't totally know who it was.
Might be called. His name escapes me.
It's a big guy, big muscular guy. Is it Brian Cage or someone?
Brian Cage, you got it.
Okay.
I was gonna call him Brian Adams, but that's a WCW guy. Yeah, Brian Cage. Who's a good hand? He's a good wrestler.
Okay. Hit him with this sit out move. Some people call it the Falcon Arrow, the Blue Thunder Bomb sort of variation though.
Brian Cage is one of these guys. He's losing to Kenny Omega here, but people seem to like him, and they seem to want to get him to get a push.
Okay.
He's got like a Ring of Honor title, and he does stuff in Ring of Honor, but people really seem to like him.
Okay. Well, wrestling a great match with Kenny Omega, you didn't win the match, but that's kind of a push, right?
Yeah, for sure. You had Kenny's first match back, so that shows you a lot of trust. So
Very good. Hey, speaking of people coming back, the Fixer asked us about Alexa Bliss last time.
this is for you, Fixer.
Do we have news on Alexa Bliss? And, when I saw the headline here from comingsoon.net, Alexa Bliss teases a possible WWE return, but with a twist. I'm not sure what the twist is. Return of Alexa Bliss, former WWE Raw Women's Champion, has been buzzing the past several weeks. Could she be back at Royal Rumble? Someplace else? She was not at the Raw Netflix premiere. She is teasing here from her Instagram post. Let's see if they'll show it to us here. Kind of the pink hair, so she's got her pro wrestling look back to her. So that's usually when they start teasing. Look, I'm doing the wrestling dress kind of thing again. The Fixer, if you're watching on the live stream or if you catch this on recording, tell us, what do you think now that it seems Alexa Bliss is putting out social media overtures that she might be returning? John, how much do you know about Alexa Bliss? I know very little. I know that she was involved in the first Royal Rumble we saw, where she lost to Bianca Belair, and then there was some weird Uncle Howdy stuff afterwards that made me go, oh no, why is he involved in 2 of the 5 matches here? And then Alexa Bliss just kind of disappeared. Did you tell me she was married to Ryan Cabrera?
Yeah.
The musician.
Married to a musician.
They've had a child recently, so they have plenty of stuff going on out of the wrestling ring in life. Much like Becky Lynch, who we talked about last weekend. Hey, there's a new edited video clip you put together over on the Don't Bury the Lead channel about Becky Lynch's impending return. So Alexa Bliss does not need to be back in the ring immediately, but she's teasing that she might be. And hey, if the Fixer and other fans are excited about it, maybe this is some good news.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked the TNA WWE affiliation a lot. This may be a way for the Hardy brothers to get back into WWE programming now that they're affiliated so much with TNA. Both Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, in separate interviews, were on Chris Van Vliet's Insight with Chris Van Vliet podcast. They each stressed that one of the great things about working with TNA is that you can get into WWE. A lot of TNA talent has been doing that. Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace, most prominently, perhaps, but others as well. Matt's saying, we filmed some content for WWE that'll probably be dropping pretty soon. So maybe these guys aren't worth the risk of a long-term contract in WWE, but if they'll show up for a one-off event on NXT, you think this is worth it, for at least for the nostalgia pop? Because the Hardys still have some fans, and it's not like they've been just doing junk the past few years. Matt Hardy especially has done really interesting stuff with his broken Matt Hardy character. Not just tag team stuff, but single stuff. What say you about the Hardy brothers perhaps backdooring their way into a WWE cameo here?
With Royal Rumble around the corner, that would be cool, right? I saw the WWE Vault, which is a YouTube channel that WWE they released a video of them wrestling the Dudleys.
Okay.
I think, Matt was in the WWE, then he and Jeff went to AEW, and at the end of the day, I think Matt for sure still has some gas in the tank, and he would be exciting to see at a Royal Rumble.
Okay.
He kind of was a dud in AEW. I don't want to say a dud. He was just okay. But then Jeff Hardy joined, and then they started doing tag stuff, and it was great.
Okay.
But then Jeff got another DUI in the morning, and he kind of kind of got written off TV. He got injured too. So Jeff's a mess. So if Jeff can stand up straight, then, and I'm hoping that he can, but I think there's a lot of potential with the Hardys coming back as a tag team because it could still work. Specifically, Jeff somehow, of all the people. Jeff looked really good, even through his trials and tribulation. But, you know, we're definitely pulling for people like this, for sure.
Matt looks like he's really banged up. Always looks like he's banged up. I mean, he walks awkwardly, like one leg has been knocked out of alignment. He looks like he's carrying a lot of injuries. But
he's slowed down.
They want a heel run for the Hardys. Do you think they'd be good heels? Or what else were you going to say there? I said
he's slowed down. Is a good way to put it.
He's slowed down. Okay.
You know, he's not what he used to be. And, you know, you figure Matt Hardy, look up his age here, cheating. He's 50 years old. So
oh, wow, okay.
50 years old. Maybe what they could do is, I think, you know, it's tough to tell because they already fired Jeff for being, for failing a drug test, and then he went to AEW and got a DUI. And now to get him back in, you're really going to have to trust him. But hey, they took CM Punk back in, so I think they'll take anybody back in at this point. You know, I don't think what Jeff did was wrong per se. It's just a problem with his addiction. So I could definitely see them coming back, and I think it would be cool. How about you?
Yeah, and it's the perfect storm, right? This is the way for WWE to bring them in for a one-off without having to actually have them under contract. Perfect. Works all the way around. You sent me news of this. Corey Graves, whom I liked as both a color analyst and a play-by-play guy when he was doing either SmackDown or Raw or premium live events for WWE. Not sure about his status after he was kind of miffed about being bumped down to NXT when Pat McAfee returned, and when they did not get rid of Joe Tessitore, who's now doing play-by-play for us on SmackDown. So Corey Graves was getting bumped down to NXT, took it as a demotion. Apparently, you were saying he said some stuff on his X account on social media, and he was basically sent home from the tapings this week. What other stuff do you know about this? Jim Ross was also talking about it, saying, hey, look, this is the life we chose. You want to be an announcer for the WWE? You get moved where they think they need you based on whether you're hot or not, whether somebody else with more social media clout nowadays is going to be joining you. Maybe they bump you down a notch. What say you about Jim Ross's analysis and about Corey Graves' actions overall? And do you like Corey Graves as an announcer?
The Jim Ross thing is great because he's like, yeah, this is the life we chose. It's just a good line coming from JR. Like, this is it. Like, you're in the spotlight, you're the top guy, and then they kick you to the curb. Like, that's WWE. That's been his life too, right? Yep. I mean, he was announcing for New Japan. He's the greatest pro wrestling commentator of all time, probably, debatably. And he's
in the conversation, right?
He's in the conversation. He's announcing for New Japan 10 years ago, not on the WWE, not with the WWE. Like, what are you kidding me? But that's just how it works, right? They found someone new. They wanted someone young. They put Cole up. They fired him. So you could go back to the Corey Graves article. I do want to have a look at the tweet that he sent out because it's
said that they've now been deleted unless they quoted it in here.
It's quoted. If you scroll up a little bit.
This here, imagine chasing your dream.
Yeah, imagine chasing your dream, then being told, not deciding that you're no longer physically able to pursue your dream. Uh-oh. Then you dedicate your life to something dream adjacent and being pretty effing awesome at it. And then when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told you're not famous enough for your own job. Just in case you've wondered where I've been. So,
he was a wrestler and could not wrestle anymore because of injuries. Transitioned, I thought, very well to the announce table.
Yes.
But he's not a big name.
Yes. I really liked him on SmackDown with Wade Barrett.
Yes.
He's really good. They have a good synergy, those two. With Cole, it's a little weird, and it's interesting because when it's Cole, McAfee, and Corey Graves, there's a lot of animosity between Corey Graves and Pat McAfee. But it seems like that was real, the way that he's saying this right now, right? Like, oh, I guess I'm just not famous enough to know I have to do NXT. He's, releasing his frustration on Twitter, which is a terrible idea. But not a
That's
great.
bad internet.
That's bad
John
internet.
Cena is good internet.
This is getting
something frustrated and running down your boss and your employer on Twitter is bad internet.
And he wasn't at NXT, so who knows what kind of suspension he's going to get? Who knows where he's at? It's really a shame because he is a very good announcer. I'd say at least in the 2-man booth with Wade Barrett, I really like them. So
I thought he was the best play-by-play guy we heard.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I liked him. And he transitioned well to doing color when he had to do color as well, running down Johnny Gargano.
Yeah.
Corey Graves talented, but it's performance art. It's not just how can you do the mechanics.
He's done a lot to bring along the Motor City Machine Guns with no one knowing him, talking about their history, talking about growing up with them, and all this stuff. It makes them more exciting. A lot of times, I hate to say it, but the announcers really make or break a lot of the wrestlers, right?
Like, they add a lot to it. Yes.
Jim Ross, whenever he has someone that's big, Jim Ross did an offshoot with WWE, and he announced Undertaker's last match against Roman Reigns. And then when he announced Roman Reigns, it was like so much different than anyone in WWE does. He's like, Roman Reigns here. He played for Georgia Tech. He's big, strong athlete, and they never mentioned that. He's like, oh yeah, wow. JR was doing the JR stuff, talking about what college football team he played for. It put him in such a different light, and I felt like it got him over a lot more than what they typically do. He's saying, oh my God, he's a fantastic athlete. Georgia Tech. Yeah, he was great when he played there. Yep. Whereas like Cole all the time is just doing storyline stuff. But
yes. Now, Cody Rhodes has credited Michael Cole with being sort of, his JR to whatever wrestler would have been analogous there. Yeah. Maybe JR to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Cody Rhodes has credited Michael Cole with the way Cole announces his matches really helped put Cody over. So that is a big part of it. Corey Graves, if he can get over this little hissy fit, do you think he could be back with WWE programming, or has this one incident meant that he burned the bridge?
I mean, I think he's been there too long that they'll fire him. I think if it was Vince, he might be in trouble. But Triple H seems to have a different approach.
Okay, maybe they'll work with him then. Corey Graves definitely has a lot of skill that he's developed as a broadcaster. I'd like to see him back if at all possible. All right, speaking of people who've been suspended, Matt Riddle, this comes to us from WrestleZone. Matt Riddle wins the MLW World Heavyweight title at MLW Kings of Coliseum. That's Major League Wrestling. He defeated Satoshi Kojima to win the MLW World Heavyweight Championship. And of course, the tweet was just a bunch of bros. Bro, it's the bros. There they are. Let's see if we can do this without it playing too much here. But Matt Riddle, jettisoned from WWE, but seems to have found a way to work on the independent circuit. Some of these second tier minor league to the WWE and AEW major league level promotions like MLW. Not bad. He wins here with whatever this pile driver move is here. The tombstone. Is it like the bro stone or something? I don't know. But it's that kind of tombstone-y move. He wins the MLW title there. What say you about Matt Riddle? Are you going like, oh yeah, Matt Riddle, I remember him. I didn't watch him very often. I just saw him when we started doing Don't Bury Lead and watching SmackDown. I remember that he was involved in the Bloodline angle for a while.
Yes.
He had a few weeks up there and was doing good stuff. He was instrumental in helping Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens capture the World Tag Team titles eventually.
He was over when he was in WWE, no questions asked. He was good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Why did he get fired?
Some sort of incident at an airport, maybe involving controlled substances.
Yeah, he had several controversies. Oh, he also had some weird stuff with his wife, who was a porn star. Oh, yeah, I do remember all this stuff. Okay.
Oh, I did not know that part. Okay.
or this. No, he cheated on his wife with a porn star, something like that. I don't know. There was a lot going on. Okay.
There's a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah. So, hey, I mean, he probably made his money, and I hope he did at least, and saved some of it in WWE, because he was Randy Orton's tag team partner for years, which
RK Bro,
which is like hello. And then, I guess he eventually just lost his mind a bit when he got the divorce and the porn star. But eventually, it's good that he has the opportunity to continue to win, stay in the public eye, and then hopefully get scooped up by AEW or AEW, or maybe he returns to Royal Rumble one year and people freak out.
Yeah, he still apparently is wrestling barefoot, it looks like. This is a great shot here, him holding up the belt with some pyro going off after the match. Yeah, it looks like he's still wrestling barefoot.
Yeah.
And just in his underwear. But he can definitely go. Another great shot there. So good for Matt Riddle. Good for Matt Riddle. Bro. Over to John Cena, who has been mentioned quite often today. He's got a new show called What Drives You, which reminds me of Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. This is John Cena Goes for a Ride. It's going to be on the Roku channel. So far, he's got Logan Paul, Jelly Roll, The Miz, and Travis Barker in What Drives You. The trailer is available on YouTube if you want Roku channel's YouTube channel there. He sees the actor and professional wrestler spend time with some of the most successful celebrities on the planet. Talk about what drives them both on the road and in their hearts. The series will kick off with a road trip in Puerto Rico in Logan Paul's Ford Bronco. So yeah, it's like, they take a ride in a car and they talk. John Cena, Roku. What do you think of this? This is quite a kickoff to the retirement tour. He's getting a show on Roku where he's talking to people while driving around.
Yeah, I feel like it's been done by like everyone. So let's see what spin he brings in. You got Jerry Seinfeld, and then Jay Leno ripped off Jerry Seinfeld. Now you have John Cena ripping off Jerry Seinfeld and Jay Leno.
Who is the guy? James Corbin, who does car karaoke?
James Corbin does the car karaoke. Yeah. Are they going to just be driving and talking to each other, and they're interviewing that way?
I think so. It's car-based something.
But also what's weird is John Cena is going to be doing the interviews, which is certainly a skill set, right? That I don't know that he has or not. I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm saying that, there's a certain skill set.
It's different than being the interviewee.
For sure. When he's been the interviewee for ages.
Yes.
I might be more excited if Michael Cole was doing this, or
right?
Or one of the backstage people, Byron Saxton.
I mean, Kevin Owens ripped this off too when he was doing interviews from his rental cars.
This is true.
This is an entire genre.
He does
car-based conversations.
Logan Paul makes sense for the WWE connection, but Jelly Roll's a big guest for sure.
Yes. The Miz, also WWE connection. Travis Barker, drummer for I'm not sure what band.
He's some washed up drummer. That's not a good guess.
Apparently he's a drummer. But Hey, why not? The Miz, they will go for a ride in a Tesla Model X Plaid. Let's see. With Travis Barker, he's in a 1987 Buick GNX. There you go.
Okay.
They collaborate on an original song in his studio after driving Barker's Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon 4x4 too. Jelly Roll's going to be in a Ram 1500 Laramie. Okie doke.
All right.
I can't wait for when they go over to China and he interviews Xi Jinping.
Yeah.
This will be fantastic.
Oh, gee. How
so
are
much
you?
material.
Gee, how are you so great?
Yeah, right.
Oh, wow. Just tell me how do you become so fantastic? Because you are.
Speaking of peoples with the skill set for interviewing, Bob Uecker passed away this week. Mr. Baseball Bob Uecker, known for so many things, play-by-play, Major League, Miller Lite commercials, Mr. Belvedere, and also WWF WrestleMania 3 and 4. He's in the WWF WWE Hall of Fame in the celebrity wing. Probably most known, you put out a short about this, for his interview with Andre the Giant during WrestleMania 4, in which Andre the Giant winds up pretending to choke him. After Andre's got his hand on Bob Uecker's shoulder, and Bob Uecker says something to the effect of, "You mind getting your foot off of my shoulder?" Which leads to this, one of the iconic images from WrestleMania.
Yes. Fantastic.
Did you remember that Bob Uecker had been involved with WWF way back in the day? I had momentarily forgot about it. I remember him from Mr. Belvedere, Major League, the Miller Lite commercials. And I knew he was an announcer for a long time. And he did some other funny stuff.
Hey, Junior Ramondo, thanks for the chat. And
hello to you as well. Thanks for joining us here in Cheap Heat. Junior Ramondo, did you remember that Bob Uecker had a role with the early WWF in the 80s? I did not. John, did you remember this, or did you need to have your memory jogged like I did?
I remember Bob Uecker from Major League.
Okay.
That's what really sticks out to me. And I did not know he was in the WWE. But then I saw the clip of him getting choked. I was like, oh, he was that guy that got choked by Andre.
Yes.
Like, I never put two and two together, but I have seen that clip. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. So
Andre's hand is almost as big as his face.
Bob Uecker in Major League is incredibly funny.
Yes.
Incredibly funny.
As the whiskey swilling announcer, right? So he's an announcer who plays an announcer.
Yeah. Just a bit outside.
That's an iconic movie line, right?
Yeah. Bob Uecker is what Joe Buck wanted to be. Joe Buck tries all the funny man stuff. He tried to have his own show on HBO and then got destroyed on that show by some comedian, but it didn't go over well. He's trying to do kind of like a comedy podcast. He loves Larry David. He says he's a comedy legend, but he just never. Joe's better at the play-by-play stuff, whereas Bob Uecker hit it out of the park with all the comedy stuff.
He was able to be both sides of the old-fashioned comedy duo formula. Joe Buck, guys like that are just the straight man.
He's too straight. Yeah, he can't be the goofy side.
So very good. That's what I got for you, John. Anything that we missed, tell us in the chat. Tell us in the comment if there was news from this past week that you wanted us to talk about. John, was there anything that you saw that we did not have an article to put up on the screen for from this week that you wanted to mention?
No, but just a John Cena thing, and we beat that. We went after it earlier today. So I think
that was excellent. I enjoyed that and working that into, since it was part of the SmackDown show, people in the crowd with it. That was good stuff. John, it's unseasonably warm. It's pathologically frugal. What is it?
It's cheap. All right. We're going to mosey on down here to the Italian Goodbye. And I see we still have one people from Twitch and YouTube. Thank you, Junior Ramondo, for the comment. It's cool if you want to stay quiet, or if you have anything you want to talk about with the wrestling world, let us know.
Yes.
So let's mosey on down to the Italian Goodbye. This portion of the show is where we typically, you would expect the show to end, but because it's the Italian Goodbye, we're just going to keep talking and keep talking and keep talking, Oh, you want some leftovers before you go? Oh, yeah, let me get the leftovers packed up. We're talking. We get to the foyer. Oh, another conversation. Oh, did you hear about the party that 2 weeks ago that I was at? No. Oh, yeah. Blah, 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 blah. On. So that's the Italian Goodbye.
That's us.
Yeah,
that's us. So let's see here. We've got a Saturday night's main event coming up in 1 week. We'll live stream that on Don't Bury the Lead. The week after that is Royal Rumble. The first premium live event of 2025. Royal Rumble on Saturday, February 1st.
Oh, so it goes... Does it go Saturday night special and then Royal Rumble?
Back-to-back Saturdays, yes.
Wow. Well, Royal Rumble's a banger. We got to do something for that. Okay, and then maybe
I wonder if they plan it to be that way. I wonder if the May one on the 24th is right before either Backlash or something that happens end of May, early June. And if the July one is before whatever happens mid-July or right after it.
I wonder if do you want to do the thing like we did before where we did the cheap heat before the show?
For Saturday night's main event? Yeah,
Yes.
we could do that since it starts at 8 and it's not over until 10. And we'll be live streaming afterwards at 10.
Yeah, so we go live at 10.
And we'll go live at 7:30, do half hour of cheap heat before the wrestling program, and then come back for Don't Bury the Lead recap afterwards. That might be a real good idea, yeah.
And
Very good.
Putting up oh no, where'd you go? I'm putting on the game on my other side of the screen here. The
okay.
Commanders are up 10 on the Detroit Lions, which is
really
pretty unbelievable.
Wow, all right.
I am not so sure what happened.
Jaden Daniels, rookie quarterback on the road. Is he going to get another win?
Crazy, right? I don't know what happened, and I saw there was an interception for a touchdown, and I also saw that Jared Goff went to the back.
Oh,
so which would be
quarterback down. Oh no,
killer for Detroit if that is indeed the case. So I'm going to try to pay attention to this.
Very good. I may go watch that as well a little bit later. That was an 8 o'clock start. Royal Rumble. I'm going to apologize right away. I will not be able to watch that live. It's a 6 p.m. start. I've got an event up at St. Bridget. Starts at 4:30 with mass for the new the people entering the Catholic Church. I'm one of the sponsors for one of the adults, so there's a reception afterwards. If it was starting at 8, I might be able to do it, but starting at 6, I will miss most of the show.
Okay, no, all good.
We'll have to do that maybe Sunday, live stream it Sunday or the Monday. Maybe do Sunday early before the NFC and AFC championship games happen.
Yeah, it might have to be early. It really depends on. Well, let's think here.
If not, we'll have to do Monday.
So wait, you're talking about next Saturday,
the 1st of February.
The 1st of February. If that's the NFC and the AFC championship games, that will be next week. The NFC AFC championship games.
Oh, that's right. That'll be the blank week in the NFL schedule. That's right. Oh, good correction. Thank you.
It could be.
So yeah, we could probably live stream Sunday then.
Yeah, so Sunday will be wide open. Actually, good. I'm glad. We should live stream on Sunday because at the end of the day, it's going to be a weekend where everybody's going to be like clamoring to watch something. So
There you go. You
come
can
on down and watch us.
Watch Don't Bury the Lead. Be like Triple H and whatever intern is assigned to us in the office there. Watch Don't Bury the Lead. Get your ideas from us.
There's always at least one person on Twitch. I swear they work for WWE because
Hey, there you go.
They sift
Very good. Right? It's like having your very own FBI guy monitoring your accounts. Maybe my FBI guy is watching right now and also has an in with the WWE. I don't know.
Well,
so
Dom,
very good. This is going to be a good weekend. We've got a good week of wrestling. I'm excited for the SmackDown on the 24th, even though we will be covering the Saturday night's main event on the 25th.
Yeah, and I'll stay in touch with you to see how we want to do the, how we would want to go about like, doing the
cheap heat before, and then
before. Yeah, I think the cheap heat before probably makes the most sense.
Yep.
And then that'll lead us right up into the show. I think I could get Liz to watch the baby too during that period.
Hey,
so,
there you go.
I'll have the laptop up here. Yeah, I could do it.
Okay.
All right.
Very good.
Cool. So let's think here. We are very close, Dom. We're still. Let me get my phone. Let me see the subscriber count.
960 something. It's getting close. It's inching up.
67.
There you go. So we're rounding to 970 at this point.
The hours at the moment are over the needed hours. So it would have been. So we're right there. We just need to get those subscribers. I'm going to go ahead and say March. It feels like maybe March we'll get it.
Okay.
Sometime in March, maybe mid-March. Mid-March is probably about right. Give us 2 months to get. Maybe one of the videos pops off and one of the shorts pops off, but they haven't really been popping off, and I'll get like 1 sub or 0 subs or 0 sub, 1 sub, so it's a grind.
It's a grind. It's a matter of reaching people who haven't already subscribed as well, because the fact that we have 967 subscribers means that we found 967 wrestling fans already.
This is true. That's
great work.
There was a stat in one of the things, one of our videos. So I re-released the Seth Rollins, and I felt that was a good idea because let's face it, Seth is in the news, CM Punk's in the news. Like, hey, so people can revisit what this shoot promo was and our reaction in 2023. So that video did solid. I think it's got about 600 views, and it's not one of our figure fours because it didn't hit 1,000. But let's see here. There was an interesting thing I wanted to talk about with this video.
Okay.
And my computer's running very slow as I'm making it do a live stream. I'm watching football. Okay,
you're taxing the energies there on that poor machine. Almost 564,000 total views on our channel.
Yes.
Inching up. Will we get 1,000 subs or 600,000 total views first? That'll be a good question for us.
Well, actually, it's changed. I digress. When it first started to go off and it had like 100 views, like it was like 50% was from subscribers and 50% was from not subscribed. But now the Seth one has 96% not subscribed, 3.6% subscribed. That's the watch time. So I digress. I thought it was going to be, but I do see sometimes we'll have like 20% of the watch hours are subscribers, which is a really great sign.
Yeah, it means new people finding us. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you mentioned figure fours, which is what we call those videos that get over 1,000 views. your celebrity compilation from the Raw debut on Netflix. That's our first figure 4 of 2025. It's almost got
true.
2,000 views there.
And that is when I made it, I said, this is the dumbest video I've ever made. And then we've made some dumb videos. I'm like, this is so stupid. Watch this work. And it did. And it had all likes. People love pictures of celebrities. I'm like, what? But
even if you don't know who they all are, like me, I didn't know who they were.
oh, half of them I had no clue, Dom. No clue. And then some people I knew who they were, but I didn't know exactly anything about them, you know? So
Yeah, I know who you are, but I don't know why. Yeah. Yeah. Well, very good. I'll tell you what, football sounds like a good nightcap here for Don't Bury the Lead. It's been a good show. We're up in the 1 hour, 40-minute range. Are there any other chats coming through from the live audience here?
no, I think the chat's cooled off.
All right. Remember to find us wherever you're live streaming. Remember to find us on YouTube. That's where the archive is. It's where the recordings of these full Don't Bury the Lead recaps go after we stop live streaming. It's also where, as we were talking about, the edited videos that John makes and the hashtag shorts, which are the under 60-second video clips there. All of that. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel on YouTube. Find us there, subscribe. We're on WWE is on the road to Royal Rumble, which is on the road to WrestleMania. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Help out. Don't Bury the Lead. We love you for it.
Dom, couldn't have said it any better myself. Thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. My name's John Sindell. This is Dom Stracella. Dom, thanks again. Have a great rest of your evening.